Hello everybody, RJ here from Team Overloaded, or rather should I say, from Nivix, because today I am giving you a deck tech. Finally, you may have been waiting for this for a while, maybe not, because I may not have even mentioned I was doing one, but today we're actually going to look at my standard deck list that I play. Vincent did one a while ago with his Dimir deck that he no longer runs. He plays Selesnya now. Selesnya, he insists it's aggro, but it's really more beatdown. But we have my tempo deck here. It's relatively tempo. It's not entirely complete, but I figured I may as well show it to you, and I'll do some update videos when I have when I'm over the way through. So we're going to actually get into the cards now, and we're obviously going to start, as you can see, with the mana base, with the land. So we have 3 Izzet guild gates. I do have 4, but I don't need to run 4. Like, the mana is pretty consistent enough that I can run 3 and still have dual lands, but not slow myself down too much. So we have 2 of the decent Ravnica art ones and 1 of the crappy Dragon's Maze art ones. But, you know, every once in a while you have to just take mana fixing over art quality. Every once in a while. There you go, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mountains, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you guessed it, 10 islands. There you go, which takes our land count to 23. But, RJ, I hear you cry, you should always run 24 land. No, I shouldn't, piss off, I'm running 23, deal with it. So, 23 land gets me by, because my curve peaks out at 5, and that's for a split card. Well, not right now, but it will eventually peak out at 5, which is for a split card, which we'll get into later. So, creature base. We have Young Pyromancer. I'm playing an instant and sorcery deck. I have Young Pyromancer. Deal with it. 1, 2, 3, playset. 4 Young Pyromancers. And 2-drop. It's a 2-1, so it's quite easily removed, but I have ways of protecting him. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, put a 1/1 red elemental creature token onto the battlefield. Under my control, obviously. It would be useless if it wasn't. And this is only an uncommon. Still worth quite a bit, but it's only an uncommon. And yeah, quite lucky to have got hold of 4 of them. So glad I've got those. They're very good to get a lot of things to block against aggro decks. Like, for example, Renegade, he runs Rakdos aggro, and he has a lot of his creatures. Like, if things with Unleash, obviously, are going to come in with a 1/1 counter on them, so I might have to burn those away, but things like Spike Jester and Rakdos Shred Freak, both 2-drop for 3/1 with haste and 2/1 with haste, respectively, but Spike Jester is gold, 1 of each, and Rakdos Shred Freak is split mana. You can, I can usually deal with those with Young Pyromancer tokens. Next, the next thing we have in our creature base is Spellheart Chimerae. 1 up on the curve from Young Pyromancers, 3-drop, 1 colorless and 1 of each colored mana in the deck. That's 1 red and 1 blue. And we have a creature Chimerae. Again, this is an uncommon, running a completely uncommon creature base. It is an asterisk 3 power and toughness, flying and trample, and its power is equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. And that is obviously also a 4-of. And ever since this card came out in Theros, people have been building decks around it, and this is my version of that deck. The Spellheart instant sorcery synergy deck. So, that's our creature base. The rest of this pile is exactly how big that Spellheart Chimerae can get. These are instants and sorceries. Or should I say, these are instants. I don't actually have any... No, I have, I think, 1 sorcery in the final deck list. And that is Divination, to try and cycle through my deck quite quickly. So, we have 3 Lightning Strike and a Skullcrack. It will eventually be 4 Lightning Strike and then 3 Skullcrack in the sideboard, because Skullcrack is good against life gain, good in response to Grey Merchant, Sphinx's Rev, basically anything that's going to let them gain a bunch of life. And it will also deal 3 damage to them, which is just a bonus. I think players can't gain life this turn, damage can't be prevented this turn, and deals 3 damage to target player. That's a lot for 2 mana, but it will eventually be another Lightning Strike main board, or possibly something else. I might have to change it up a little bit. But there will be Skullcrack in the sideboard against those matches. So yeah, that's Lightning Strike is just 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 red, 3 damage to target creature or player. It's a functional reprint of Searing Spear from Innistrad, which was the same, except it was called Searing Spear. We have 2 Izzet Charm. These are one of the guild charms. They're all 2 drops and they each have 3 modes. The 3 modes for Izzet Charm are you get to choose one. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller plays 2 mana. Or it deals 2 damage to target creature. 2 mana for 2 damage isn't great, but it can get you out of a type spot and it is very versatile. Or you can draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. And the best thing about this is it's not true card advantage, like in terms of actual cards. But what you can do is you can use it to cycle away cards that, say it's game 1, you haven't sideboarded, you can use it to cycle away cards that are not useful to you in the slightest. It is quite good turn 2. You're on the play. You go Island turn 1, they go Swamp, Rakdos Cackler, then you go Island, Izzet Charm. They don't even get in with that. It's a 1-drop for essentially a 2-2, but it can't block. And they don't even get a swing in with it, which is quite a nice feeling. So there we go. We've got 2 Izzet Charm. And we also have this. This card saves me so many times. I've only got 2 at the moment, but I will be getting more. I probably have some lying around somewhere. I have just piles of cards everywhere. They're all organised though. So we have Museum Skin. It's a 1-drop. Target creature you control gets +0/+1 and gains Hexproof until end of turn with an overload for 2 mana, which is really good. Casting that in response to a kill spell, or even if in combat, use it as a combat trick. You can give something extra 1 toughness. Like, for example, they have a 3/3. You're attacking with... they're attacking with it, you block with a Spellheart, then use this to give them extra toughness. And that creature's gonna die, and you're not actually gonna trade. You're gonna get to keep your Spellheart, swinging with it next turn. So that's 2 of that. Will be more eventually. Definitely main deck. Then we have Steam Augury. This is good because it lets us A, cycle through our deck, and B, the things that go in the graveyard will help to pump up Spellheart Chimerae. So what we have is, it's a 4-drop rare instant. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library and split them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles. Put that pile into your hand and the other pile into your graveyard. Seasoned Magic the Gathering veteran players will probably recognize this as a reverse factor fiction, because it's a reverse factor fiction. That's why you recognize it as that. Basically, factor fiction was mono blue. It was also a 4-drop. It was also instant speed. But your opponent separated the piles, and you picked one to put in your hand and the other to put in your graveyard. And this is around. You separate the piles, your opponent chooses which one you keep. And this is good because, 1, it lets us get a bunch more spells. It lets us keep getting things in our hand. We don't run out of steam. We don't run out of answers. And it also means anything that goes in the graveyard is still going to provide power for Spellheart. And also the art is really cool. Check that out. Check it out. Look at that. That art. That art. So yeah, we've obviously got 4 of these. Fairly easy to come by. If you try buying them out of like a game shop, they're about £3 a piece. I got them on the internet for 50p each. Goes to show. Then we have Magma Jet. Very good to turn 2. Sometimes I'll just Magma Jet my opponent to scry 2, maybe dig for some land or dig for something that isn't land, depending on what my situation is, or just to scry 2 and make them think I'm in a bit of a situation, which is quite fun. So it's a 2-drop for a 2 mana spell, which usually isn't great, but there's a scry 2 on the end of that, which is very, very useful early or late game, whether maybe you're digging for either like answers to a Desecration Demon, or you just need to hit an extra land drop. Either one will do. So obviously we're 4-ofing this. It might eventually be 3 of, but definitely 1 on the sideboard if I do go 3 of. For something else. Then we have, this is the card I was talking about earlier, the one that our mana curve will eventually peak at. It's a 5-drop, and this is Turn and Burn. Let's turn it sideways, because it's a split card. Its converted mana cost is 5 when fused together. You've got Turn, 1/2, the blue half. That's the 3-drop. Target feature loses all abilities and becomes an 0/1 red weird until end of turn. And Burn is a 2-drop for 2 damage to target feature player. Now, Burn isn't great by itself, but it's good in conjunction with Burn. It's also good if, say, they have something with 2 toughness, or you just want to get extra 2 damage into them. basically you can do turn and kill one of their creatures, like as a combat trick, but if you fuse it, you can also cast burn and target something else, such as them or another creature they have that's quite annoying to you. And that's another use for that. It means you can take out either 2 creatures with 1 card, which is always very good to do from one your opponent, or to just to cast fuse as a 5 mana kill spell, which is a bit overcosted, but you know, it's useful. So now, past Izzet Charm, which is kind of a counter spell. Izzet Charm is literally the definition of counter burn, because it does both of those things, and it also gives you seeming card advantage. We have Negate. This card has saved me so many times. It's Izzet Charm is a good answer to, say, Planeswalkers that come down on the turn they're allowed to, like Architect of Thought on turn 4, Elspeth on turn 6, etc., etc. They hit the 6 land drop, they play it immediately, you can just Izzet Charm it. Gate, this is a good answer for Planeswalkers that come in after. For example, they might have, for a counter, if they're playing Azorius, if they do Elspeth, you think they might have a counter for an Izzet Charm, or even if they can pay the 2 to have it resolve after Izzet Charm. Negate is a good hard counter for non-creature spells. It's also good in Vakdos aggro builds that tend to run madcap skills, because usually +3 power and can't be blocked by more than 2 creatures. That's not good for us. We have to either be able to stop that or outrace it. So that's what Negate is for. It will stop that spell, essentially. There's nothing they can do about it. And Renegade is constantly complaining about any spell that will stop that card, because he knows how good it is against me, and if he can't get one to resolve, then he's screwed over, basically. Essence Scatter. Love it. I have 2 of, because Turn and Burn is better. There is a video on YouTube, a guy called the Magic Man Sam, who runs kind of a similar build to this. It's not quite the same, but it's a little bit similar. Purely because I said I didn't net deck from this guy or anything. It's just once we saw Spellheart Chimerae, we've been building around it. That's what combo players do, or synergy players. This isn't really a combo deck because there are no actual hard combos, but it is a very synergistic deck. A lot of the spells work well with each other, so I'm going to call it a synergy deck just for the lols. And we have Essence Scatter, which is can only be better than Turn and Burn in the following situation. You have to deal with something on the stack. Gary, Merchant of Asphodel, the only merchant in Theros who is able to trade for your life, he cannot be allowed to hit the board. A 2/4 we could probably deal with at some point, but his trigger going off, we can't. Life Drain is bad for us. They're gonna life gain, we can't outrace, and our life being drained as well is also very bad. So what we have to do is we have to stop him. Against Mono Black Devotion, I will probably put in more Essence Scatter because I need to be able to deal with Gary before he hits the board. Negate is also good against Mono Black Devotion because Underworld Connections. That extra card advantage, Mono Black Devotion needs that to keep going. And last night I was at the shop. I was playing against Mono Black Devotion and I got absolutely destroyed by Underworld Connections because he just always had answers and I was hitting less draw spells than him. So we have 2 of Essence Scatter main board, more in the sideboard I think. Yeah, I have the sideboard right here and I am just looking at it, and there are definitely 2 more Essence Scatters in there. So we have 1 Divination and 2 Opportunity. Now the Opportunity are bad. It's a 6-drop. For instant speed, target player draws 4 cards. These are literally proxy until I can get more Divination, because Divination is good. It's 3-drop, sorcery speed, which is kind of bad. We don't really like that. Draw 2 cards. Obviously, the best phrase in Magic the Gathering, draw a card. Any phrase that incorporates a higher number than A is, of course, even better. So draw 2 cards is very good. And I very much like this card because it not only does it actually go in the graveyard itself and pump Spellheart and possibly trigger a Pyromancer if I have one out, what it will also do is it will give me 2 more cards, and it lets me cycle through my deck faster, essentially. And I need to be able to do that. I need to be able to dig for my creatures because I don't have a great deal of them. I only run 8 creatures, possibly up to, I think, 11. If I'm sideboarding against specific matchups, so I need to be able to get through my deck quite quickly. And I haven't actually play tested with the opportunities yet, I don't think they're going to work because basically I'm not convinced that they're viable. 6-drop, I don't know if I'm even going to be able to get that high, and when I am, I'm going to need that for multiple counters or burns or something. But if I'm really running out of answers, opportunity could be good in a very select set of cases, which I'm not convinced will ever even happen. So yeah, those will probably be divinations in the future. They're in there now because I need something to fill up space. So we've looked at my main board, and now we're going to look at my even more incomplete sideboard. So let me just grab that from right next to me. It's not sleeved because I ran out of sleeves. Why do they sell them in packs of 50? I don't know. Just to troll you. There we go. So, sideboard, we have another 2 Essence Scatter. Like I said, this helps us deal with things that absolutely have to be dealt with on the stack. Gary, for example. What else has Insane Enter the Battlefield effects? I guess if you're playing as a newer player, one of the Primordials from Gatecrash. I mean, Renegade runs Molten Primordial, the 7-drop with haste that lets you steal a creature. That's that can be pretty savage if he ever gets up to 7 mana to actually cast it. It's mainly filler now for now, but still, not letting that resolve can be quite good because I'm going to take a bunch of damage. It's a 6/7 for 7 mana with haste anyway. So yeah, we've got that to deal with. Next we have Swan Song. I have 3 of these, and I side these in against Devotion or any deck that I see that has a specific card or primarily win condition that is either an enchantment, instant, or sorcery, and that I would rather let them have a bird than. For example, if I'm playing against, say, Mono Black Devotion, Everboss, or Whip of Everboss, I'm going to use Mono Black Devotion as an example all the time because it's a widely played deck. If I've managed to Essence Scatter away a Gary, it's going to be in their graveyard. If they manage to get out a Whip of Everboss, they can whip Gary back and still do the life drain thing. So being able to counter a Whip of Everboss or an Everboss himself, who will who's even more powerful, and it's also a card advantage engine. 2 mana, pay 2 life, draw a card. Love it. So yeah, this card is literally for things where a 2/2 bird is not going to be as much hassle as, say, all their creatures gaining lifelink, or with Everboss, me not being able to gain life, which isn't actually much of a problem for my deck because we don't have any life gain. But it is annoying to have an Everboss on the field because if Devotion gets high enough, that's still what's Everboss? I think he's a 5/4 or is he a 5/6? That's a 5/6 indestructible that can be swinging every turn. So I'd rather let them have a 2/2 bird that can swing every turn than a 5/7 indestructible. So Swan Song is mainly for things that are going to be more powerful, more savage, and more brutal, and just more going to kill me than a 2/2 bird is. And obviously we have the wonderful quote at the bottom from Midomai the Ageless. Midomai, of course, being the Azorius Sphinx, whose name nobody can pronounce. Is it Midomai? Is it Medamai? We don't know. The most enlightened mages create beauty from violence, and I would not be unhappy to pull one of these from a Theros booster. They're not actually worth a lot of money, but I love them. They have excellent flavor, and if I got to say, apart from combo and synergy and stuff between certain spells, I would have to say flavor has got to be my second favorite part of Magic the Gathering. Until we come to this fun little guy's artwork. This is Gotta Snipe. Whenever I cast an instant or sorcery spell, Gotta Snipe deals 2 damage to each opponent. So basically, this guy, every instant or sorcery spell I cast, it gets a shock stapled onto it, essentially. He's a 3-drop for a bear. He's a 2/2. Well, a bear is technically a 2-drop for a 2/2, but, you know, mangled terminology. So he's a 3-drop for 2/2, and basically he makes all my instants and sorceries have a shock stapled onto them. The reason I did use to mainboard him, and the reason I sideboard him now is because I was given some very good advice by a fellow Izzet player. This guy gets killed. 3-drop, at 3-drop, he's in the same slot of the mana curve as Spellheart Chimerae is, and he's only at 2 toughness. And he does staple a shock into everything, which can be very good, but he's very easy to remove, and he's very slow for only 2 toughness. So I keep him sideboard, and in games where I can afford to have him, games where it's going to go on maybe a little bit long, I'll have a couple of extra turns, and they won't kill me that quickly. Stapling a shock onto everything is going to be great, especially against things like Esper Control, because they take a lot of self-inflicted damage. Like from Thoughtseize, you're going to take 2 damage from that. Read the Bones, you're going to take 2 damage from that. Just being 3-color in general, shock lands, you're going to take many damage from those. So yeah, Gotta Snipe can help us sneak in the extra few points of damage, especially he has a lot of reach. The one thing he is weak to, however, is Spear of Heliod. Its tab ability its mana and tap ability will let you will actually let God of Night be killed, because it says God of Night deals the damage, not each opponent loses 2 life. So technically the damage comes from God of Night, he is the source, and his 3 of Heliod can kill it. But thankfully, I don't think I've ever seen anyone play Mono White Devotion, definitely not at my shop, because to be fair, Heliod isn't that great, and 3-drop with double white for his spear for a +1/+1 anthem isn't great. The destroy ability, again, if you're taking that much damage from your creatures, it's probably not going to help you survive, because you have to wait for it to actually deal damage to kill you. But then I'm going off on a tangent about mono white cards, which isn't what I'm playing. I'm playing Izzet. I'm representing the Firemind in the Almighty Quest for Knowledge and Explosions. What was that? Whoops. I should organise my desk. There we go. So, what you've seen there is my Izzet build. I have a fancy image with 2 of my main cards, Spellheart, Chimerae, and Steam Augury, which I will be putting as the thumbnail for this video. And I hope you've enjoyed seeing my deck list. If you have any suggestions for cards I should include, one thing I was thinking of was to include Quicken. It's a 1-drop. The next sorcery card you cast this turn can be cast as though it had Flash, which means it can be cast the same way as an instant. When there's something on the stack, you can cast it in response to other things, for example. What you can also do is, it also lets you draw a card. So it's a 1-mana cantrip, it's 3 power for Spellheart, it's good. And running through the deck again a lot faster is good for us. Vincent insists that card is bad. They're paying 1 mana to essentially, you're going no cards up, but it's essentially the same principle as Izzet Charm in the 3rd mode, cycle mode. But it's only for 1, but it's for half the cost, so there you go. And if I do end up having to, for example, side in Mizium Mortars, it would let me cast that in response. If I happen to have 7 mana up, I could end of turn quick and then draw, then just eliminate everything, or we could even do it in response to Declaration of Attackers or something. But yeah, so basically my main aims here are get rid of Opportunity for more divination, help me draw through the deck faster, and also get free procs and free power for Spellheart, and to buff up on the Museum Skin for either sideboard or definitely main board, and also get rid of that Skullcrack, and possibly go down to 3 Magma Jet. I'm not sure, but I'll be probably posting a video over the next month or so with updates that I've made to this deck. I hope you've enjoyed seeing the deck list again. Any recommendations or anything for cards, put them in the comments, and I will see you later. Bye.